Hello and welcome to this episode of GraftCast with me, Hugo Austin, and today I'm joined by Fynn Watt from Driving Ukraine. Hi,
Yep.
Fynn.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, class.
Fynn, do you see yourself as entrepreneurial?
That was straight into it, bro.
Straight into it, man.
He was different behind the camera. He was all relaxed and asking me questions. Do I see myself as entrepreneurial? Yeah. Next question.
Why?
I do see myself as entrepreneurial. So I built some bit of context on Driving Ukraine.
Yeah.
Is we've been going since the outset of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. So
Speak to me, what? Speak to me.
4.5 years.
Yeah.
4.5 years I've been running the organisation, set it up. It was just a volunteering project. I left my degree apprenticeship behind and also left my job in order to be a volunteer over in Ukraine, and was doing work over there in Poland and Ukraine for about a year and a half before it could, you could call it kind of organisation.
Mm-hmm.
We've sent 400 vehicles since then that have gone to save lives on the front lines in Ukraine. So they work in frontline sections doing evacuations of the wounded or air defense positions over in Ukraine. We've done 62 convoys of people, taken over 1,000 volunteers, raised over £3 million. And I think whether I wanted to consider myself entrepreneurial or not, being in a position where I've had to build that and make it sustainable and run it has taken some entrepreneurial elements. So
Organisation.
Yeah. So I'd say entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to sort of go back to the beginning, really. In your family, are there sort of entrepreneurs, or as there business owners or organisers or leaders or anything like that?
Yeah. So my father is an entrepreneur. He has his own business. He restores classic cars. Shout out Great Worth Classics, best classic Porsche restoration workshop.
It just keeps looking down the camera.
In Oxfordshire. Can I not do that?
You can.
Can I not do that?
Addressing everyone, all of our followers.
That's the shout out. So my father's he's ran his own business. Actually, for decades he was entrepreneurial. He was working for ProDrive, which actually ended up spinning out.
Banbury.
Ended up. You might want to speak to them because
That's one of the.
Spun out a lot of entrepreneurs from ProDrive.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've got like a military-esque vibe that just makes, it might just be the motorsport industry, and ProDrive like really presses people in the right way. Because I know a lot of my dad's friends who ProDrive went to like set up their own thing, so they've clearly got some good scheme going on there. But for decades he was doing a couple of different business opportunities all over the place, mainly around motorsport rallying. He's a mechanic by trade, and he set up VW Camper Company. So like the old hippie buses.
Yeah.
I was in mine this weekend actually, 1968 Volkswagen camper van.
Oh, really?
Like proper hippie bus. He was restoring those to start with, actually from here, like 20 years ago.
Wow.
So coincidence that I now work here. He was hiring them out to customers, working from here, and then he turned that into a classic Porsche restoration business. Now runs both of them in tandem. My uncle, actually both of my uncles, who I'm closest to, they've ran their own businesses as well. A pharmaceutical company and a marketing agency.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
I've got some really, really good inspiration.
exactly. So inspiration taken from all of them.
Yeah.
But there seems to be sort of a common theme with you guys in that sort of automotive or automotiveness. And so where did that come from? Have you has it just always come from your dad? Is that always been there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so my brother's a racing driver. Obviously I run Driving Ukraine. There's an automotive streak. I mean, it helps that we're in Oxfordshire, which is like one of the motorsport capitals of the world. We have, if not the motorsport capital of the world. My dad has always yeah, I mean, it must be entirely from him, really. I don't actually have too much of an interest myself in mechanical capability, vehicles that
Engineering.
much.
Mm.
But you know, when it comes to I really like the capability of the vehicles. So like a 4-wheel drive vehicle, in like to the nth degree, being able to go off road, and what you're able to achieve like in a vehicle like that, and then what you can get cost wise for those off road vehicles, and then race cars, how fast they can go around corners. I think that side of it is pretty fascinating. But I'm not that like vehicle inclined myself, to be fair.
So you growing up with that inspiration from your dad and everything like that. So you said that you were in a sort of degree apprenticeship.
Can I move this, because it's like
Just a little bit like that way. Just a little
there.
bit. That's it. Good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah. So
Testing.
just going sort of to before driving Ukraine.
Yeah.
So you said you were doing a degree apprenticeship.
Yeah.
What was that in? And what
That was in business and management.
Okay.
And I was working in Bath, compounding medicines.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Silverstone UTC.
Yeah, I know. He literally lives in Silverstone, so
Cool.
Yeah.
I went to Silverstone UTC. But it was in business and management. My degree apprenticeship. I did that for 2 years.
Fair enough. And at what point did you think, I want to start driving Ukraine, or the start of it essentially?
Yeah, really interesting question, because it wasn't really like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I think I need to do some like exploration around the actual thing itself.
Of course, yeah.
Myself when I get some time, but it wasn't like how do I describe it? It was like a real insane amount of motivation, passion, and like push. If we go back to the full-scale invasion happening at the end of February 2022, by the first week of March 2022, I was set my intentions to go to Ukraine, to take my dad's van from his business, to take supplies over there, to pull out refugees, to evacuate refugees from Ukraine, take supplies into the country, and anything that was needed. It was like there was no way that wasn't what I was going to do. Like there was literally nothing else in my world.
Why do you think that was? Is there any sort of link between you and Ukraine, or sort of what is that?
So there's no link, like in terms of family connections, or I had no link. I had no link to Ukraine at all.
Yeah.
Genuinely no link. So to go into it specifically, at the time, the full-scale invasion kicked off, and I was watching it on the news, and I was like, this is existential. Like, this is insane. Europe's being invaded by the Russians in the 21st century. And I'd say the driving feeling for me doing what I did next was I felt so helpless. Yeah. Like, really helpless. There was an invasion happening into Europe, into, I travelled a bit with my family as I was younger, so, Europe as an extended version of home. And I just was watching the invasion happen, and it was so clear to see a right side and a wrong side. And I was watching it all happen, and I felt truly helpless, and I despised that feeling, like really despised it. I was like, I'm just feeling helpless and just having to just stand and watch it happening and not do anything. So I decided to do something, and that something kind of snowballed, and then I just got carried away.
And what was that first thing that you did?
So the like inspiration was somebody else. There was a guy called Tom Little something. I can't remember his name now, but there was a guy called Tom Little something, and there was a news article on the BBC about him taking a van and then going to Ukraine to go and pull people out. And I remember seeing it on the news and being like, oh, so you don't have to be helpless. Like, there is something that you can do. Like, an individual, just a guy, can do something to help. So I saw that, and, you know, I wasn't quite there yet. And the stuff that I'm talking about now will happen within about a week. And then we sat down. Do you guys remember? I've spoken to a couple of people about this, but nobody can remember it. Do you remember the lights off to say, like, fuck you to Russia's energy for an evening, sitting in the dark? It was a thing that we did. You remember like clap for the NHS?
Yeah.
So we had one of those.
Right.
And everyone was doing it, and nobody remembers it, so I think I might be making it up.
So your whole charity is called for back of this.
No, I remember it very vividly, and I'll tell you. Everyone had turned their lights off. In the whole street, it was like, we don't need your energy.
See,
sure,
yes,
whatever.
I got you.
Great.
So
we're sitting, so I was at my family home at the time, and we're all sitting around the table, me, dad, mum, brother, sister, very, like, cinematic. There was like candles on the table, dinner there.
Music in the background.
Yeah, like a Halo theme tune. We had, so we were sitting there in the dark, in the candlelight, and my dad posed a question to that, and I was 20 at the time. And my dad posed a question to the whole family that was like, Russia's invaded Ukraine. It's very serious. It's going to go on for a long time. If anybody wants to do anything to help within the family, anything at all, big or small, you have the full family's support, resources, all the friends that we know. If anyone wants to do anything, you've got our backing.
Wow.
Kind of speaking to, I guess, I mean, my brother must have been like 17 at the time, 16 or 17 at the time. So, and my sister even younger. So I guess
they're thinking, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. But I mean, but I guess he was kind of talking to me, and I took that and ran with it. That weekend on the weekend I went to Milton Keynes to a donation center. I was scrolling through Facebook looking at Ukraine help related stuff, and I saw a post from a lady called Yulia Hallahan that said, we're drowning in donated supplies. We need help like sorting them and sending them, because there's a big Ukrainian community in many countries across Europe and across the world. And as you can imagine, if your home country got invaded and it was looking dire, you're just doing anything you can to help in the best possible way. So these hubs of collecting supplies, fundraising money popped up all over the country. And I saw this lady, Yulia, post, we need help with drowning in supplies. Just come, we need your hands to help pack boxes, sort stuff out. We've got lorries going over to Ukraine, taking supplies, humanitarian aid. And at that time, humanitarian aid, it was tens of millions of people fleeing the country as the Russians were invading from north, northeast, and south. And I grabbed, I asked my dad if I could borrow the van. He said, yep. I went down to this refugee center, the donation center, turned up. There was like 20, 30 people there. I went on the Saturday, I went there on the Sunday. The van was a very valuable resource because all the rubbish that they had from packing all the supplies, they didn't have anywhere to put it. So they were shoving it in the van, and I was just being the bin man. And I was like, fair enough. It's a job to do it. So I was doing that over the weekend. And actually, I remember being at that donation center, and it was like, people were very, very high energy, but like, it was like a string. You could it was so tense, like you could feel it constantly. I mean, Yulia's husband at the time had family that were in Sumy, and Sumy is right on the Russian border. northeastern Ukraine, right on the Russian border. So the Russians were pushing into their hometown, nearing, like approaching where their family was as well. So, and there were multiple Ukrainian people all around the donation center, and you could feel what it was. You know, you're just trying to do something to help, but you could feel what it was like in the atmosphere. There were people wailing over their heads. You hear about like another village that had been occupied, that the Russians had stormed through. You know, news was coming out about what they'd done in various cities and different places that were getting bombed, and civilians that were dying. And you could feel it in this donation center. But again, there was just that human element of you know, we've got to do something. We're not completely helpless. We can do something. And I helped for that weekend, and then I went away from there. There were some other guys that came through as well in an ex-NHS ambulance, and we were loading up their van, and then they were going to Ukraine to take supplies to Ukraine. And to set the context of that kind of time, Russia was saying, we're going to take Kiev in 3 days. We're going to take the whole country in a matter of weeks. So to actually go to Ukraine at all,
it's a war zone.
Was a very, very scary concept.
Yeah.
So these guys came, we loaded up their van, and I saw them go away, and then I was just completely enthused with ways in which to help. I thought that I could benefit. I could help a bit more. So I found on Facebook, I was looking around, and I found a group called Vienna Mission for Ukraine that were based out of Vienna, Austria. A bunch of UN employees who set up an organization in their spare time called Vienna Mission for Ukraine, which was driving from Vienna about 1,000 kilometers to the Polish-Ukrainian border. Excuse me. To the Polish-Ukrainian border. And then they were like, at that time, the need to take supplies, you had tens of millions of people, millions. I can't remember how many people. It would have been, tens of millions of people flooding out of the country. Ukraine's population pre-war was like 44 million, so it would have been probably somewhere about 10, 11 million people that were like leaving the country in those first few weeks. Chaos. Like, even if you tried to plan it as a country, as a large charity, as multiple large charities, even if you tried to plan taking care of something like that, you couldn't. It's millions of people. All of the infrastructure, like transport infrastructure, was completely full. Buses were packed everywhere if they were available. Trains were absolutely rammed. Train stations were rammed. All of the border cities in Poland were completely rammed. So there was a desire for individuals. Again, it's like power of the individual to take a van. This Vienna group were advertising that they were going to the border. The refugee center worked like this. Like, you've got like a department store. It was like an old Tesco, and you've got like all these different rooms.
Yeah.
And the people that were leaving the country, the people that were evacuating Ukraine would come, however, to the refugee center. You know, they've just lost their home. They've had to go thousands of miles. They've got to another country. They would arrive in a like an abandoned Tesco's, and there were different rooms all around the building, and different rooms around the building would be different cities. So if you wanted to go to that city, you would go and stand in that, because, like, again, you couldn't like figure it out for yourself. Like, all of the infrastructure, like transport infrastructure, was just completely gone. So even the train stations were, you know, absolutely rammed.
Yeah.
It would be like, it was like trying to get out of a stadium with like trying to get on a train. So you would go to, and then, you know, let alone people that don't speak the language. You know, and it was majority. It was martial law from the beginning as well. So it wasn't men. It was just women and children. And there were all these rooms around the abandoned Tesco's, and you'd go and stand in the one that was your city that you wanted to go to. And then, you know, random volunteers from across Europe and actually across the world were coming in their independent vehicles, walking into the refugee centre, registering, going and standing in the rooms, holding a sign like I did that just said Vienna, Austria, just stood there and held the sign, and then waited till like the first thing I did there was a mother and her 2 children who had just evacuated. Well, 3 days ago they'd evacuated from Severodonetsk, which is now occupied by the Russians. Her husband was fighting. It was Christina, and then her 2 daughters were called Maria and Amina, and I think they were, 7 and 13, or something. No, younger, 3 and 13. And they told me that they were the Ukrainian military came to their door, knocked on their door, and said the Russians are going to be here in like 10 minutes, unless you want to be occupied. You're under Russian occupation, which you don't. You're coming with us right now. Whatever you can grab in the next minute, get that, and we're leaving. So the military evacuation to the local train station, and then they spent 3 days on the train, arrived in Poland, walked into the refugee centre, and then I was standing there with a sign, took them to some friends in Vienna.
Yeah. So how does driving Ukraine look now? Like, what's the structure? When you go on a convoy, how does that sort of come about each time?
So just to talk about like the transition from where we were then to now, the desire of driving Ukraine, as a concept to help, has always been, what's the best thing that we could do that we are capable of doing, that's genuinely helpful, not necessarily convenient to us, but genuinely helpful. And that desire, on top of everything, has meant we've done a whole load of things over the last few years. But we went from the desire of millions of people leaving the country, and helping with the refugee situation, helping with UK visas for Ukrainians to the UK, to delivering supplies, because all the supply chains were just completely shot, to then essentially moving into what we do now after about a year, is the convoys of the vehicles, and that is, we host it's great fun. We host a convoy at the end of every month, somewhere between 10 and 20 vehicles, 2 people per vehicle. So, for example, you 2 fundraise for a truck. We set you up your fundraising page. Here's your fundraising page. All you have to do is share it, circulate it, raise the money. You've got to raise £9,300, which buys the vehicle and the transport costs, volunteering costs. We put you together with, let's say, 9 other pairs, so 18 other people that have done the same thing, leave from Oxfordshire and then go on a 3-day journey across Europe, taking these 4x4s across Europe to Ukraine to donate them.
And how long does that usually take?
So it's the actual road itself. I did it at the start of the war when it was all mental. I did it with one other guy in 21 hours. But can't recommend.
No,
it's horrible. It's genuinely horrible.
And you'd stop at a certain point and then keep going.
Yeah. So the road is 21 hours. It's 1,300 miles. But we do it now over 3 days. So you leave Oxfordshire, you leave England, you go down to the tunnel, and then sleep in Dortmund, Germany for the first night after going through France, Belgium, Netherlands. Wake up in the morning in Dortmund. You're right with early mornings?
Yeah.
You're right with early mornings?
Oh, yeah, fine.
Yeah,
fine.
okay, I'm not. So it's tough, but...
Well, I'm probably a bit grumpy, Jack will say.
You're saying that you are for the podcast.
I am fine, yeah.
Okay, fine. Of course you are. So... we wake up in the morning, and then drive all the way across Germany to arrive in Western Poland, like Krakow area, Krakow.
Yeah.
Go to sleep in Krakow, wake up in the morning, and then drive through Poland to arrive in Lviv, which is the most western city of Ukraine, about 60 kilometers across the Polish-Ukrainian border, and that's our final destination.
Yeah.
Over 3 days.
Yeah. And so what do you, once you get there, you give the vehicles to the Ukrainians? What's the sort of transfer process?
So Maxim in Ukraine is one of the guys that I met very early on in the conflict, and he was the guy that was like, we need vehicles. I can see all the passion that you've got for helping Ukraine, but let's put it in the right direction. Let's do vehicles. He is always taking requests of. It's so hard. It's not hard. It's so foreign of a concept to understand, because like all of the like military stuff that we understand now is all centrally planned. The very best vehicle that we've provided to Ukraine, we couldn't give to the British military if we tried.
Yeah.
That concept, what did Mike Tyson say? Like, everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face. Like, that concept completely goes out the window as soon as there's an actual war. You are scrapping. Well, I mean, we had lots of situations of it in World War II in Britain, specifically going to get our boys from across the channel with all fishermen's boats and stuff. All of that goes out the window. So these standard civilian vehicles, which have like ready supply chain parts, relatively cheap and easy to keep, and you also like a constant supply of them. Maxim is constantly speaking to Ukrainian military units, medical units, evacuation teams, bomb disposal teams, air defense units about what the needs are along the front line and in air defense positions across the country, which shock horror is. Everyone needs a vehicle all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Constantly. Yeah.
Fair play. So you must have you actually, because you're like the western side of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Do you actually, have there ever been dangerous moments for you guys?
So the danger, we try to curtail the danger at the moment. We've obviously got all of our organizational policies around what to do when there's an air alarm, what to do when the threat level is raised, whether it's just us or the volunteers themselves. Volunteers are with us, whether we're like in transit or stationary, where the nearest bomb shelter is. The safety question is one that gets asked all the time, and I have like a really annoying answer for the west of the country, which is that it's not that dangerous. Like, this one doesn't go down well with the wives or the girlfriends, but like statistically, you're more likely to get in a car accident on the way there.
Yeah.
Touch wood for any kind of bad events. But we've got, think about it from, so the Russians, they do hit civilian infrastructure, and they do it on a regular basis. It's obviously constantly a matrix for them, because they've also got limited resources. What can they hit, and when can they hit it, and how frequent? To go all the way across the country and hit Lviv in the very west of the country, they've got to go through more air defense. You've got to have something faster. There's more opportunities to bring it down, and to be intercepted. So it is harder, and they do it much less, but they still do it. They've hit throughout the conflict all of the major cities in Ukraine, kind of similar to like World War II in Britain as well. You had people evacuating from London and going up into the Midlands or buttfuck nowhere, because it's not a strategic target. There's not a lot of people there.
The evacuees.
Spread out, and it's like power and I don't know, people being separated, basically. So you just like that, you've got small villages that haven't seen any specific Russian damage themselves, but then the larger cities do. We're running into an interesting time at the moment as well, because some of the key air defense systems that have been provided by the US, the Patriots, Trump has said he's going to stop. not only is he not providing them, he's not allowing Ukraine to produce them themselves, which he said he was going to do. Russians have got very high tech ballistic missiles that can hit. They go very fast and they're very dangerous. And you also need equally high tech air defense systems. And it's getting to a point now where Ukraine just don't have them. So you know they literally can't intercept some of the stuff. But yeah, there's like you could kind of picture it like a heat map. Imagine the country. You've got like red spots. You've got like where the front line is. You've got like dark red going out to like white, as in like a fade. Yeah. And then the key cities closer to Russia are like dark red. The centers, and then it goes less as you move across to the west. So yeah, but we go to Lviv. It's the safest city to go to. And, you know, we've got all our procedures if there's something.
So, what do you think one of the biggest sort of learnings that you've had throughout it's 4 years of doing this now, or 5? What's the sort of biggest learnings that you've had running this?
There's probably loads.
Yeah,
there's probably loads. To be fair, in what direction?
So, like organising a charity.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I could probably go loads of different ways because there's like learnings in leadership, learnings in the industry, learnings for myself.
Maybe learnings in humanity as well.
Yeah.
What people are willing to do for you.
So what would I say? I'd say learnings for the charity industry, as far as I can tell, and I'm not deep into it and I haven't spent decades inside of it, but from what I can tell, there's like so much bullshit that goes on. The bureaucracy is insane. And not only is the bureaucracy insane, a lot of organizations and people carry on doing stuff because it's feels good to them and it's the thing that they know and that it's easy. It's the thing that they can help with. We're super against that. The actual point stops with how can you be helpful? How is that received? It's always speaking to the people on the ground and asking them how you can help.
Firsthand,
Yeah. I still just like to give an example. I still know organizations that are sending the most useless shit humanitarian aid to Ukraine because they like think that they're helping. Yeah. It's just not. A lot of the times it's not helpful, but people carry it on because it's like
they like to be seen as helping.
Yeah, they like to be seen as helping. It feels good to them. Maybe they genuinely do believe they're helping. Sometimes, you need to apply a little bit of critical thinking. The people that are relying on you to supply stuff, you got to have honest conversations with them, because if you say to somebody, "Do you need something?" and maybe they're in need in general, but they don't need it, they'll say yes because they think that potentially if they say no in the future, you might not, come back to help them.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that. So there's a bit of critical thinking there. But yeah, I think a lot, it does feel like a lot of the charity industry does get involved in a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of good work done, but there is a lot of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
There learnings as well. I'd say learnings for humanity is that it's amazing how generous people are. It is genuinely incredible how generous people are with their time, with their effort, with their money, with their intentions. But people have a deep desire to know how they're helping and in what way, which is one of the things that we try and index on, by delivering vehicles and delivering things and giving good quality reporting back, or letting people meet the people that they're helping directly and just being the middleman of it. People have an insane amount of generosity, but they're also owed they're also owed the way in which they're able to help the world. You know, they're making the impact. They deserve to be able to see it and to know about it. And then learnings for like myself has been how capable I am. I think there's a couple of, I've met a lot of people over the last 4.5 years and done quite a few things that I never could have imagined, that are just ridiculous, that it's like, you know, there really are no rules. You can just do pretty much whatever you want. You got to make sure you sell it the right way. You got to make sure you've got the right people behind you. You got to make sure you're going in the right direction. But like almost bar nothing, you can do whatever you want. And these days, and I realized it way too late, but these days, like with the ability to send an email, it's like people read their email inboxes. It's mental. Like it's like, oh no, I can't reach out to this like in massive influencer, or to this place where I want to have a party, or venue where I want to hold an event.
So almost don't ask, don't get sort of
yeah,
thing.
it is. Don't ask, don't get. Like you really can reach out to people, and like sometimes they, like, a lot of the time they don't respond, but sometimes they do, and it leads to the most insane things. It really does. Learnings as well. I think being cheeky is super important. Like always pushing the envelope. It's really important to ask for just a bit too much than you think is too much, because you're almost always wrong. There's so much available in the world for specifically what you want, and for all the different causes out there, business, charity, or otherwise. You really just got to be cheeky and push the envelope. And when you start being cheeky, it's so fun. Yeah, like it's really fun because you get away with a lot. And then also, people. I've also learned as well. People really want to back young people. Yeah, there's an insane desire. One of the things that people always comment on when they talk about driving Ukraine is the age I was when I started it. The three guys that I work with now, Jake and Maxime, we are the core team. We're all the same age. We're 25, and we've all been doing it for about the same amount of time. And the amount of support that we've had, just because people really, they
like the graft.
Yeah. They love the graft. They love the graft. They love the graft. They are willing to support young people. They're willing to back them, often more than you think, and often because they're a lot wiser in different ways than you think. But again, with the same thing about being cheeky, there's so many people out there that really want to support you, and also, like, spoiler, like, just because they do. Like, there's a little bit in it for them. Yeah. For varying different motivations, but like they really do, and there's so many people out there to support the thing you're doing. So yeah, that's been like a really cool thing to learn. But you know, I'm mid-20s now, so I've got to make use of it. I'm not young for much longer.
So what? Just final question, I suppose. What's next for driving Ukraine?
We're going to carry on. To be fair, I mean I don't have any extra insight or information than anybody else who reads the news as to when the war's going to finish, or how it's going to finish. All I know is that what we're doing at the moment is in absolute dire need. Every vehicle that we send, or every UGV, these unmanned ground vehicles that we sponsor, is a life saved. And I've seen it myself. The Ukrainian people, when you meet them, they are us. You know, they really are just like us. It's incredible how well British people specifically, and Ukrainians get along. Like, it's something to be studied. But for me, it's just carrying on. Yeah, like I have my mission at the moment, and I don't know when the conclusion of that mission could be. There's a whole lot of stuff to do in this life, but at the moment, I've got my mission.
Brilliant. Well, Fynn, thank you so much for joining us.
Can I say, what are you going to do next? Continue the graft.
Brilliant. Well, Fynn, thanks so much for joining us on this episode. It's been awesome. Nice one, mate. Join us on the next one.
Cool.
Cheers.